August 20th, 2012. United States Attorney Jenny A. Durkan, Western District of Washington. Owners of marijuana dispensaries plead guilty to drug distribution charges. Admit selling marijuana in violation of federal and state law. For immediate release, Seattle. The owners of two different marijuana distribution enterprises pleaded guilty today in federal court to drug trafficking, admitting they were selling large quantities of marijuana for profit in violation of federal and state law, announced U.S. Attorney and current Seattle Mayor Jenny A. Durkan. Brionne Corbray, 47, owner and operator of 3 game collectives in White Center, Northeast Seattle, and West Seattle, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute marijuana. Craig Douglas Diefenbach, 61, and Jingjing Mo, 31, owners of Seattle Cannabis Cooperative, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute marijuana and conspiracy to commit money laundering. And of course, Craig is the subject of Doom Planet Podcast episode 30, Seattle scam artist Craig Diefenbach. And today we're going to be talking with Brionne for Doomed Planet, the podcast, episode 32. Jenny Durkan's racist crusade against medical pot.
You know I love you, baby. And that's why it's time to get funky.
Hi, I'm Alex, your host. And at the end of this podcast, we have audio from when I interviewed Brionne at his marijuana dispensary back in 2012, shortly before he got busted by the feds. So that will be at the end of the podcast. But now we're just going to basically let Brionne speak for himself. I do want to mention that Brionne describes Jenny Durkan as much as... I do want to mention that Brionne describes Jenny Durkan with a gender-specific insult that I would not have used, but you might have heard me call her a fascist cop that must resign. Anyway, this is a great day for the Doom Planet podcast because I finally figured out how to use Zoom. This is our 32nd episode and only our 3rd interview. First, we had the 14-year-old Marxist. Then we had my good friend Elaine, and now Brionne. So enjoy. Oh, I wish I could join you for a smoke, but I have my kids and wife upstairs, and I'm not allowed to smoke inside.
Oh no, I'm in my studio. My house is right
Nice.
over. You got to walk over about
Nice.
20 feet to the house.
Nice. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to try not to talk over you and let you tell your story, and I'll just start August 20th, 2012. U.S. Attorney Jenny Durkan announces that you have pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute marijuana. So we can go backwards from there, but I think people already know that I think pot should be legal, and that whole charge is utterly ridiculous, especially considering that medical pot was legal and the local authorities were leaving it alone. And so some feds came in on doing some sting operations, right? Because the cops weren't touching any of the medical pot stuff. No one was. They're like,
No,
do
the cops came to my collective many times.
Yeah, it's like autonomous zone, right? You can police yourselves and it works fine. We'll leave you alone. It's just pot.
Yeah.
But the basic story is that Jenny Durkan, who's now mayor of Seattle, gassing her own people with chemical weapons, is a is a psychopath, but she targeted you, and one can imagine it's because you're an African American man. So
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but my business was successful. People came there and they were happy. They enjoyed coming there. They enjoyed coming there, having conversations.
yeah.
It was open, lots of windows. It was a welcoming environment. It was just, it was racist. It was systemic racism.
So we did an episode about Craig Diefenbach. He was kind of a fuck up, doing things that he shouldn't, like offering to sell multiple pounds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But so he was busted, and then you, but no one else by the feds.
Yeah.
During this entire thing. That's it.
Well, what's so crazy is that I didn't even know who Craig Diefenbach was. And she tried to act like I was associated with this dude. I never met that dude. I couldn't even tell you who this. Never in my life have I even heard of the dude. And she's trying to act like I had something to do with this dude.
Right, because there's plenty of pot shops. You were kind of early in the game, as they say. But by that time, there are plenty of, you wouldn't know all the people involved.
No, and the thing about it was, I wasn't early in the game. I was just the first black man in the game.
Right.
See, how I learned the game was I had went to about 20 or 30 different pot shops, and I did a little documentary on it in 2010. And I learned how to do it by doing that documentary. And so there was a bunch of them out there before me. I was just the first black man to do it, to get a license and open up.
So they don't like that. And again, this is you had 3 stores at one point, right? It started in West Seattle.
Right. So you can say that I had 3 stores, but I had 2 business partners, and they bought their own business licenses and they opened those up, and they were white. So they just didn't get in trouble.
They didn't even get indicted.
They didn't get handcuffed. They didn't get a gun pointed at them. Nothing.
I actually don't know the details of this. Did they come in with guns drawn and stuff and take you away from the place?
Oh man, they didn't make me leave. They just took my car under gun. They took all my stuff under gun. And since they had been watching this and they knew I didn't carry a gun, didn't have to come in like that. They didn't have to come in with my patients in there with guns and stuff like that, acting like that we were doing something that we weren't supposed to be doing. They were just being bullies is what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was telling me that you black and this ain't for you. You ain't allowed to do this.
That is unfortunate. I want to mention West Seattle is not a huge black area. So did that have anything? Seattle is not.
Well, I lived there for 25 years though. My kids were all raised there.
Yeah.
So, that's the community I lived in. And a lot of that community knew who I was. And she just slandered the hell out of me. And they knew that wasn't true. I mean, a lot of those people knew me. What she didn't understand is like, I was working with some of those businesses in the community. So for her to sit there and slander me like that, it was bullshit, because I worked with a lot of those businesses, and we frequented a lot of those businesses in the West Seattle.
Of course. And they took your car.
Yeah.
And if you did pay cash for your car, so what? I mean,
yeah. Why do I got to pay the interest? And I don't want to pay interest on it. That's why I paid for it in cash, because I didn't want to pay interest.
Yeah. So that civil asset forfeiture stuff is unbelievable. And then I'm just reading the Fed's press release. They made you pay $25,000.
I never paid it.
You never? Okay, good. Fuckers.
I never paid it. They've been trying to get it from me, and I ain't never paid it.
Yeah. I remember
last year they tried to take my wife's income tax last year.
What?
And then they tried to take her income tax check last year, and the judge made it so that we were separate when it came to this, so they couldn't fuck with her. And then because I won't pay them, they tried to take her income tax, and so then they had to give it back.
So they're still looking for that money.
Yeah, but I ain't giving them shit. I said, the Judge Martinez tried to insult me and say, you could pay this, my daughter could pay this. I said, motherfucker, your daughter ain't got 4 kids either. Your daughter is 18 years old. Bitch. Don't be bringing your daughter into this conversation. What the fuck this got to do with your daughter? Shit. This ridiculous shit. Insulting is what they're doing. They're trying to insult you while they're fucking you.
It's funny, before Jenny Durkan was on my radar, I remember you having strong words about her. And I was like, wow, should you be saying that? This is the person that prosecuted, and you in no uncertain terms were like, she is a fucking fucker.
I cussed her out to her face one time downtown. And she tried to shake my hand. And I said, if you don't get the fuck away from me, bitch, I'll throw this coffee in your face.
That happened at the courthouse?
No, this happened. You know where the art museum is?
Yeah.
I was standing outside of there, and she was campaigning to become mayor. And she seen me standing there, and she walked up to me trying to shake my hand. I said, bitch, if you don't get the fuck away from me, I'll throw this hot coffee in your fucking face. And she was like, what the? I said, you ain't no good for black people. The fuck out of here. Black people don't need you. She turned around and started walking off because she knew she just stepped up to the wrong black person.
Do you know that she and her, well, they're not married, but she and her partner, you know, she and her partner, they're not married because then her partner doesn't have to disclose financial stuff. They are worth over $100 million between the two of them.
I believe it. And she's trying to tell me I can't have no $32,000 car.
That's who she is. That's the people she works for.
Yeah. No, I got you. I know.
A lot of people like us, before everything became legal and even before the medical thing, were pot growers. And so you started out doing some of that, or?
No, I seen it was an opportunity to to start a business. So when I made this, I'm a videographer, you know. So me and some friends made a documentary, and I was like, "What is this shit?" I hadn't even heard about it. I was like, "What?"
Right. Yeah.
So I started out going to all these different dispensaries and shooting a little bit of footage, and I went out to what's that dude's name? He had a farm out in Issaquah, out on the other side of Issaquah.
I'm missing the name, but he's like going with young girls and stuff. That guy, yeah.
He's a prick.
He's an asshole. Yeah, but you said, well, if this psychopath can do it, I can do it.
Well, what made me say I could do it was then I went to this place called Purple Heart in Wallingford,
right?
And the dude was a convicted child molester, right? And I said, if this convicted child molester can be in business and do this, man, I'm opening me up one, right?
Well, that was Game Collective was a great place. You had the really good bud too, you know.
Yeah,
you had the
hookup. Except at a certain level of marijuana, I had 40 different strains at least all the time across the board. I tried to, I really tried to make it so that people could come in, be comfortable, have a selection, different price range. I tried to make my hours so that people could, from 11 to 7. Other people had different hours, and everybody started conforming to those hours of 11 to 7 because those, because we did that stuff. We invented this strain called the green crack. Now it's everywhere, and they stole our trademark. They stole our shit when that was me and my guy Terry's name. We came up with that, and people would come just to get that. You couldn't get that anywhere. But
you invented green crack. Yeah,
we
very
came
popular
up with
sativa strain.
Yes, and it was really some mango. Is really what it was.
Yeah, right. Which is also awesome. Is that came locally from local mother plants or?
Yeah, it was all from local growers.
Yeah,
and the thing about it was that it was set up perfect. It was set up. We were getting ready. We were getting ready to get into the 502. We were going to apply for it. We had set up so that we had like 6 or 7 people that we were going to all apply, and then
for the lottery.
Yeah, and so there were going to be a certain amount of us that were going to be able to get it, and then we were going to be able to have a certain amount of stores open in the area that were all within our control, right?
Right.
And so it's so funny because they sent the dude in. They were working with the state. They sent this guy in from the state to talk to me about the 502 and what our plan was.
Yep.
And we had these monthly meetings, right? And so we kept notes and stuff about our monthly meetings.
Right.
And so in our monthly meetings, we talked about our plans and how we were strategizing to get into this 502 and all this kind of stuff. So when this guy heard about that, we talked about that, and he asked me if I was going to get involved in it. We said, yeah. We told him how we were already talking about and strategizing. He took that shit back to Jenny Durkan, all that information. Took all that, and they weren't going to have that shit. They didn't want that, because I asked how come they came after me? They said, because they didn't want me to be involved in it. I said, but all these other people are involved in it. They said, well, they don't care about them other people. We don't care about them. We just don't want you involved. I'm going, what kind of shit is that?
Yeah, people know about 502. Many of the medical dispensaries transitioned into that.
Yeah. Have a heartbeat.
A Greener Today, so many of them, Dockside, and the state helped them do that.
Exactly.
But they dissed you and you missed out. And that's the rich white guys taking over the legal pot business, that's a factor.
They cut me out of generational wealth for me and my family. Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's a civil rights violation, because you cannot undo that level playing field like that. It has to be a level playing field. And when you take away opportunities from a certain, and that's why she don't want this to come out, because she know what she did. The thing about it was, it took me 5 years to really recover from that shit, because I suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, just anger. It took me a long time to get over that anger, because I knew what it was. Every place that I had a store, there's now a rec store in those places, right?
Yep. So you're driving by Uncle Ike's and you see, and by the way, I know Ian, but he's a libertarian, just bad. You're driving by Uncle Ike's and there's a line out the door and you're like, what the fuck?
Not even that. Also, my store in West Seattle, right there, where there's a pot shop right there, that was my location too.
Oh, is there a rec pot shop there now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was on
California, right?
On California.
Yeah, it was like you drive up, nice open parking lot, go into a nice store, and you're at the counter, and there's mason jars of the best pot right there.
Yeah, somebody
super friendly.
There's a rec store there now, and then they also make oils in the back, oil processing. So but they white,
Yeah.
And so it was really.
I am also white. I feel bad about that. And I look on the Zoom call, I look like a bald Joe Rogan. So I apologize.
No,
I hate Joe Rogan.
My wife is white. So I don't have anything against white people, but we just know that it was a white thing. It wasn't a black thing. It was a white thing,
You are the poster boy for white rich businessmen muscling out black people from what was when it was illegal. Yeah, you had black people in the business. Of course, they need to make money.
But there was white people in the business too, because my drug dealers was white. I went to white pot dealers.
Yeah, well, the hippies controlled a lot of that. Those are white people.
I'm just saying, they can say black all they want. I went to white pot dealers.
Yeah, and Jenny Durkan. So, are you following what's happening with Jenny's cops beating on people and gassing people?
Of course.
And Black Lives Matter, the BLM thing.
Well, I go online as much as possible when she's online, and I bring up what she's done, especially when she's talking to these black groups like she's pro-black, right? And then I go and say that, and it fucks her up. She was on this Black Community News Live about 2 weeks ago, and I went on there and I exposed her so bad she had to stop talking to compose herself. And me and my son were and then she called, and then she sent an email to my son's work. He's a teacher at and he was irresponsible and his site was offensive, and that was the city that did that. And his boss called him and told him that she got this email saying this, and that he has the freedom of speech, and that they can't control what he says. And she was mad because we were on there messing with her over what she did to black people and what she did to us and our family over us being black, you know, and it was just, we all know what it was. Yeah. She did not want us to be in the industry. She was going to just make it a white person thing. And the thing about like that, it's like that in every state. They open this motherfucking shit up.
Yep.
They kick out the black African Americans, and the white people come and just, and it's a civil rights violation.
Yeah, and well, they get away with it because of the prohibition on pot, and that, I mean, obviously that whole thing.
Yeah, on the federal level, yeah. And I said that's why they keep it illegal federally, so they can control black people, make sure that black people can't get in it until it's all the way across the board done, and then they're gonna legalize it federally, and it'll be too late.
Are there any African American people in the 502 industry that you know of, or owners? No.
Nope. There are none.
The people working as bud tenders, which is a shitty job, by the way. That's just retail, right?
That's it. So, you know, I started making these videos and stuff, and the city got a hold of me like a week ago, and they offered me a rec store in this new
really?
Yeah, this social equity program. They said that, you know, but the thing is that I sent that video that I posted on YouTube to the city, and they got those videos, and then they contacted me.
Okay.
Right.
But how can the city can't offer you a rec store? They can help you with the
social equity program that they're developing. Okay. All right. And it's through the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board.
Right. Okay. So they have something. They're trying something.
Well, and it's a grant where they pay for your first store. They give you the license for all three. Okay. You know, but this ain't gonna take place until next year, right?
Okay. But you can't. Are you prohibited from doing that because you pleaded out on the case?
No.
Like if you have a record?
They gave me a record, but they didn't prohibit me from doing anything.
Okay.
They just told me I couldn't do it for 5 years.
You want to do that?
They were just making it so long enough so that I couldn't get involved in it.
So when Jenny is no longer mayor, she's our latest one-term Seattle mayor. Maybe you want to do that? Do you want to have a rec shop or?
Well, yeah, I'm going to. Why shouldn't I be able to have one? And the thing about it, I get to locate it in Seattle.
Right.
You see, and the thing about it is that, you know, what Jenny Durkan don't know is that, see my finger? I was that close to killing her one time. I went to her office. She wasn't federal prosecutor anymore. And she had an office about 4 blocks down the street.
She's just a corporate fuck lawyer.
Yeah. And
working for a big business.
Yeah. And I walked into her office and my plan was to kill her. Oh. Because I was in this fucked up mode. And there was about 5 other women in the office and she wasn't there.
Okay.
And I walked back there and she wasn't there. And I just walked out and left. And I said to myself, I'm glad she wasn't there because I'd have had to kill all those women. Jesus, after I killed her.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying that's how she fucked my brain.
An expression of your anger. I'll take that.
Well, I'm just telling you that that's where she took me.
Right.
See, what they don't know is that when they do things like that to people of color, that it takes them to places that, like, I had never been to a place like that in my life. I had never, ever, ever wanted anyone dead. I had never, ever wanted to harm anyone in my life. She changed my whole DNA. The whole DNA structure in my whole body changed after she did that to me.
Well, now you see similar things happening all over the country with black people saying, all right, enough is enough. We're taking to the streets every day. Yeah. It's not because just one march every day. Yeah.
But we're ready to kill.
Okay. Those are some strong words, but I have a strong podcast. And that's what black people are. Black people are so tired of it that we are ready to kill over it. We don't want to, but like, what else can we do? Yeah.
You know, like, she deserves some bullets. She deserves some bullets because of my kids. She deserves some bullets because God knows what she's done to other people. Yeah. You know,
as a prosecuting attorney, I mean, she's a cop. That's what that is.
Yeah, and then she lied and she slandered my name. She tried to say I was involved in some delivery of drugs from my collective to Idaho, to Oregon, to a gang called the Disciples in Chicago, Illinois. I ain't never been in a gang in my motherfucking life. Man, I'm 40. I was 47 years old and she talking about me fucking with some gang.
And diversion, which is where you buy pot in a legal state and then take it to bumfuck Idaho where it's illegal. You can't control that. Someone buys an ounce of pot at Game Collective and then decides to go to Idaho. You can't control that, even if it is the case.
Well, I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but just the idea of her thinking that she has the right to do that. Yeah. Just the idea of her not just thinking she has the right to do it, but the arrogance and just the overall, like pure racist. The whole thing was so overwhelming to me because I thought that shit was over a long time ago. Yeah. And I thought that when the government did something to somebody, it's because they were doing something they ain't had no business doing. Right? But I was wrong. Right? And that was my fault. I was being naive.
That's why pot has been illegal for 70 years or whatnot. The people in power realized, we can oppress black people with this. We can manipulate and imprison African Americans by using this bogus law. And I think all drugs should be legal, but again, we're just pot here.
Well, they're keeping it federal so they can control who's in and who's not in. If it's not federal, then black people can get in and gain generational wealth across the board. Yeah. But they don't want that. So what they do is they keep it illegal federally, and when they see a black person like me that's in there trying to take, especially back then, they come in and they shut it down. And we should have I think if I can find an attorney, that is a lawsuit against the federal government. Okay. That's a civil rights violation. Byron Allen just won a court case with that same shit about the federal government trying to make it so he couldn't buy those 300 media outlets. Mm. And he sued Comcast and the federal government and won. And that's the same shit that they did to me.
Right, but it's like 8 years or more ago, so that might be a factor. Just like,
come on, statute of limitations. Come on, it's at least 10 years. Come on, statute of limitations don't even start for at least 10 years especially when it comes to feds. Come on, we can't be naive here. They know good and well what's going on. They're just hoping that I don't find somebody to file a lawsuit within the next 2 years.
Do you? This is strong stuff. I love it. Do you have a website or where we can point people to go?
Well, I do my Facebook post, and then I have and then I do my every day I have a show on Facebook.
So look for Brionne Corbray on Facebook, and it'll be a public video.
Yeah, I do that, and then it's called. And then I also have I started a thing called 2OG Smoking Weed, so you can join that on Facebook. Then I also have an Instagram, 2OG Smoking Weed, Facebook, a YouTube, 2OG Smoking Weed, and all that. And we talk about different issues. I have the podcast that I do every Friday, Rainier Avenue Radio. Okay. Yeah, and so we do a podcast every Friday.
And who is that with? Is that you or?
It's me and Mr. Cushy 89, my guy, Tim. He's a buddy of mine, and I got with him and started this here. See my shirts?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started doing that, and then we started getting a lot of people listening, and our audience is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. We, like literally get hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of hits on our stuff, and so it's just growing. And we just talk about different issues, and then on my morning show, I come on and I talk about economics, politics, and things like that. And so I have a lot of people that come on. Well, it's every morning at 9:00. Like there are people waiting for me to come on after this podcast. They're probably saying, "Where is he?" But but I'm going after this. But
I love podcasts. It's like a radio show where you can use profanity and say whatever you want.
Exactly.
So good. And the powers that be can't control a podcast because it's the RSS feed. You're not Google and Facebook can't control your podcast.
Nope.
Anyone can subscribe anywhere in the world, and it just boom. And it's like, and you can't fake it either. Like they have deep fake now or deep fake voices, but if you control your RSS feed, that's your credibility, right? That's you.
Yeah,
no one can
exactly.
take that. So that's a great thing. Hopefully people will make money with that. I'm just doing it for the thrill of doing it. So.
Well, like we're going to be branding our own brand and stuff like that. Okay. We're, like I said, we're going to start a marijuana brand. I'm going to open that rec shop,
Okay.
Like I said, they offered me that store. They have a grant that they're going to give me to go along with it. And that's going to pay to open, but still doesn't take away from what they did, And I think, like I said, I think that they should be held accountable for that. I think that it's a pattern and that it just, in today's day and age, you can prove it. You don't have people looking at you like you're crazy. Back 8 years ago, they look at me like I was crazy. And I'm going, well, why would the feds intervene in a state business? I said, they violated my 10th Amendment rights. I said, I got a state license to do this. And then they're going to use that against me in court and say, well, it's against the law federally and we can prove it because you bought a state license to sell pot. I'm going, that's a fucking setup.
Yeah,
that's a fucking setup.
Just if people don't know the whole story of marijuana in Washington, I think it was the Cole memo, but anyway, Obama, they had a kind of a deal. We're not going to mess with pot in legal states. We're not going to mess with medical pot. The feds will stay out of it.
I said that in court. The judge told me that I was wrong.
Yeah, and then Jenny Durkan has to single you out of all people.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you describe Jenny Durkan, mayor of Seattle, in one sentence?
Big psychopath bitch.
Okay. How about Carmen Best? I almost don't want to go there, but I have nothing against her. Yeah.
Carmen ain't never did nothing against me.
Gas a bunch of your African-American brothers and sisters.
And a bunch of white folks, too.
And white folks fighting for that. It's everybody now. It's funny.
Everybody's out there, so everybody got gassed. I'm going to tell you something.
All right.
Carmen was second. She was second pick for Mayor Durkan. She tried to pick this white dude for police chief. He didn't want the job. He picked Carmen. Carmen in his position where if she don't listen to what the mayor says, she's gonna lose her job. And she like her job. But Carmen, the mayor threw Carmen under the bus. Carmen came to a decision last week, and she don't back the mayor no more.
Yeah, that's dangerous because the cops do what they want. That's bad. Although,
listen, the cops don't do what they want.
Disrespectful to Jenny, which is good, but it's bad that they are. I mean, who do they answer to if they don't respect the mayor? The mayor is saying, "I don't want you to gas people anymore," and then the next night they're gassing people.
No, the mayor told him to gas.
Well, privately,
the mayor said, "Don't use gas, but use these other products."
Right, which are
that we don't
the same
consider.
Thing.
That was the mayor. That wasn't. And Carmen didn't want to do it, but the mayor told her to do it.
Yeah,
that's what, and then threw her under the bus. Carmen said, "You said you weren't going to do this," and she said, "They need." That comes from the Fed part of her. She's a sociopath.
Yeah,
Jenny Durkan is a real sociopath, and
she gets a sick thrill as I think she really enjoys hurting people. Like that's her thing.
Yeah, she does. She does. She likes hurting people. She can't even begin to understand how you're feeling and all that. And she could care less if you hate her. She don't care if you dislike her.
Yeah.
And the reason why I tell people, or I even talk about the portion where I almost killed her, is because there's no law against almost killing somebody if you ain't did it.
Well, there's a law against everything. I can say conspiracy, but no. It's a First Amendment thing. It's what I thought about killing Jenny. That's your First Amendment right to say that.
Right. And I say why? Because she pushed me to a place that I had never been before, and there are people who've killed people for far less.
Just think of looking at numbers of 502 incredible sales numbers. Game Collective would have been a multi-million-dollar business. You'd right, your generational wealth, as you said.
Yeah.
Something your kids could have taken over or inherited or.
Yeah.
So I hope it's not too late to get in there. But now, of course, you know, everyone's doing it. So you could probably run a rec shop. If you ran it right, you could make a decent living doing that.
Sure. You can make a good living on it, you know, but the point of the matter is I feel like I'm owed about 150 mil, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Over 8 years of 3 stores being open, you know, I think that they owe me for that. I think that they owe the Black community for that, you know, and I think that she should have to, you know, be accountable for it. She should have to be accountable for it. We have to start holding these people accountable for these abuses and stop letting them walk away thinking that it's okay, you know, thinking that they got away with something.
She did get away with it, though. She's not a prosecuting attorney anymore. She's mayor.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that she got elected mayor means she got away with the persecution of you. So
exactly.
And then you're lumped in the same press release with the fucknut Craig Diefenbach. That wasn't fair either. He was sort of a bad actor, and you weren't.
She was trying to slander me as much as possible.
Yeah.
And it was straight slander. And she should be, slander is something that she should be held accountable for, because that wasn't her job. Her job wasn't to make lies up about me. Her job wasn't to do that kind of stuff. If she wanted to say, okay, because he's Black and it's against federal law, then tell the truth. That's different. But to slander me, that's not what she was supposed to do. And she should be held accountable. It makes me more mad that she slandered my family name than anything.
Yeah.
Because she just told all these lies that were just totally unfucking true. She gave it to the media and put it in the press, you know? And I'm just kind of saying to myself, why would she say this?
That's what federal prosecutors do.
Right.
Anything.
That's what,
they
right.
throw everything against you.
Right. So I'm saying, now, if they're going to do this to me, just think about all the lies they've created and told on all these other people to make them look like, now I can't even hear anything about the feds doing anything and think it's true. I think, well, they're probably lying, because that's what they do. You know, that this isn't an honest system we're talking about here.
No.
You know? And so, it never has been. And again, that was that created me to be in that situation also, because like I said, I thought those days were over. I thought that this was a ability, especially because I got a state license. I abided by the rules. If you look at the paperwork, they couldn't even say that. And not only that, but they couldn't even say that I broke any of the state laws when they tried to get me to break them. They couldn't get me to sell them the 5 pounds. They couldn't get me to start a big, crazy-ass grow.
They're trying to entrap you. That's what the undercover narcs coming in, they're trying to entrap you. That's what that is.
And they couldn't do any of that to make me break any of the state laws, so they just did, okay, you ain't going to break the state laws? Fuck it, we'll just get you federally. And that's exactly what she did.
Didn't she want you to do a year in jail?
Yeah, she said, if I sign the plea agreement, I won't do any time.
Right.
So I signed the plea agreement, go to court, and then they asked for a fucking year after I signed it.
Yeah, you had a lawyer, though.
Yeah, but that bitch wasn't no good.
Oh, you had a bad lawyer. That's bad.
Well, she was a federal prosecutor. She came from the federal prosecutor's office, or whatever they call that shit.
Right.
You know? And the thing about it was, I was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. I was depressed. I couldn't tell you what the fuck was happening, really, the honest to God truth. You know, but the bottom line is, I even went into court, and when they read the charges off to me, I said, man, that shit ain't true. The judge said, time out. This is recess. You be back here at 3 o'clock, and you better be ready to make your plea. And my wife was like, what court can you go to and say something's not true, and then they make you come back and say it's true?
Well, no one wants to get sucked into the criminal justice system, right? It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
And you had all these
nightmare for you.
Dozens, hundreds of white people operating medical pot shops.
3,000 at the time.
3,000 people involved. And you are one of only 2 people that they took down.
And Vince Lombardi said, there'll be many more to come after Mr. Corbray.
And then, I can't stress this enough. I can go to a store and buy marijuana. It's legal. That's what they busted you for.
Yeah.
Pot.
No, what they busted me for was I was making money and they didn't want me to be a part of it. They busted me because they didn't want me to be involved in the marijuana game. It was not for black people. That's what they busted me for. You know.
And if you look again, I think I already brought this up. If you look at all the 502, I mean, a reporter could do the research. Are there any black people involved at all? No.
Nope.
Very few, if any.
Very few, and they're partnered with some white dude.
Yeah, of course. So
she ran everybody out. When she busted me, she was sending a message. She was saying that I was facing 40 years and $1 million fine. And I was like, 40 years? She didn't say 40 years, but she put that in the paper.
Right.
You see, because she was scaring black people away. It was such an egregious abuse of power that they need to be held accountable for it.
I just realized that Jenny Durkan is the Rudolph Giuliani of Seattle, like a tough on crime prosecutor that's going to make her way to become mayor because she cracked down on drugs.
She wants to be governor.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now, when you see the video of the gas coming up Capitol Hill, she's done. Yeah. She's toast.
And then I posted all those videos to all these black groups and stuff like that. And I write posts on Facebook and I send them to all these black groups about what she did to black people. And people are now really understanding who she is and they don't like her. I've been doing it for about 6-7 months. I've had this campaign on Facebook against her. And some representatives of the city came to they thought I was part of this group. And they came to there. And the guy that ran the group goes, Brionne Corbray is a part of this group, right? And they go, yeah, we know who he is and that he's part of this group. And I wasn't there, right? Because I'm not part of the group like that. I don't go to the meetings, right? So the dude called me and told me, like, the city know who you are. And they came to this meeting because they thought you was going to be here. I was like, man, I ain't got nothing to say to them fools. I just don't. I said, because they all knew what happened. I bought a license. It was all in the paper. The feds, the governor, the mayor, everybody knew that they targeted a black man that had a marijuana shop and nobody stepped up to the plate and said, this is wrong. No one. Yep. No one. While all these other white people are in business, opening up shops where my shops were, nobody stepped up to the plate and said, this is wrong. Why you guys, this is wrong, some racist shit. Nobody stepped up. They allowed that woman to torture me for 3 fucking years.
That must be horrible knowing you have to go to court and possibly face jail and you're sitting there for a year going, what is going to happen to me? And I don't
even remember that year.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that year. All I remember is it was court, because it was so, like I said, it was like my ability to function was gone. Yeah. Because I was so enraged and, like I said, my whole DNA changed. It changed at the cellular level. It changed me. I could feel it happening every day.
That's the greatest thing that I got out of this episode, and that's not just you. That's people all over the country, maybe the world, but people saying we need to abolish the police. What the fuck do the police do other than bust people for drugs and beat on people
and fuck with people? That's what they do. And she comes from that. And so she has no problem fucking with black people. But now she has a nerve because she knows she needs black people to and so she wants to act like we're so stupid and we're so ignorant as a race that we vote for her, knowing what she's done to black people and the harm she's caused. So she don't say nothing. That's why I think she's really, really bad because, she literally played on our community in the marijuana industry and then played on our community in the political industry to get elected.
Well,
playing both sides.
She's not running and she's not going to run again. I can't see it.
No, she ain't that stupid. People are calling for her. They got a petition that's out on Facebook. There's over 175,000 people. That was last week that had signed this petition to get her the fuck out of here.
Let's have a follow-up talk if something happens in the next few months or something. Maybe if Jenny resigns.
Well, hopefully she resigns because I'd like to go see her drive off.
She'd be leaving City Hall and screaming, crowds cheering, "Go, Jenny, leave town."
Exactly. Go back to Issaquah.
This is we have 31 episodes. This is only the second one where I've done an interview. I think it worked out great. So thank you. Yeah. Now I know how to do Zoom.
Zoom is great. Sir. All right, thanks. Peace.
Okay, that wraps up our June 20th, 2020 interview with Brionne Corbray. And now, as promised, an interview I did with Brionne on the premises of the Game Collective from 2012, shortly before he was busted by federal prosecutor Jenny Durkan, now Seattle Mayor.
Suppliers are coming from everywhere.
Okay, so that's good news.
Well, yeah, it's really good news.
Are you hosting an event at the end of the year?
Our family, we're all considered as one family.
Okay.
We're also hosting an event, and it's basically for everyone to shake hands and meet friends, and for suppliers to meet patients.
Medical marijuana group.
A medical group,
okay.
And for patients to meet suppliers.
Okay.
Got to have your medical marijuana card to attend.
That's pretty bold. I mean, dare I ask, are there going to be people there, government people?
If they got a card, they can get in.
On Facebook, people are not paranoid anymore. Like, they're out there, here's my plants that I'm growing, here's me in the picture.
Well, they just had a farmer's market 2 weeks ago in Tacoma. And Tacoma's talking about they ain't going to let you do this and do that, but yet they got collectives and they have farmer markets, lenient here. And so I see the surplus. We all see the surplus, and the best thing is to, instead of having these guys going from place to place to place trying to get rid of their stuff, let's just get them in one place, everybody go to them, but at the same time make it a festive event, and it's called the Emerald City Green Cup. Northwest Leaf, which is a really good publication, ran by some really nice guys.
November is looking really good.
November's looking really good, okay? And then we have the THC list, which is also free. And
I like that format, glossy,
it's
and small booklet.
It's a little medical directory, patient's guide.
Yeah, so here's Game Collective right there and there.
Yep.
I'm in love with Mary Jane. She's my main thing. Yeah, that's what's up with Mary Jane McAdoo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good news, and I like some of the cartoons that are in there too.
We're forgetting The Stranger too, which is an awesome outlet.
And
expensive,
the Seattle Weekly.
But weeklies.
Thrifty Nickel, they're in there too.
The Little Nickel is interesting. Did you? I haven't seen you advertising that.
I did it once.
Okay.
But
did you get any response or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just went with.
If you got any response at all, I'd say it's worth it then.
Yeah.
All right.
We also got a Greenpeace fund for the terminally ill that ain't able to get medical marijuana cards that we also provide.
Okay, you subsidize that.
Come on in. We want you to feel at ease and feel at home, and we'll provide you with the best medicines.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. This was awesome. Thanks for listening to the Doomed Planet podcast, episode 32, Jenny Durkan's racist crusade against medical pot. And thank you, Brionne Corbray. You can find out more at doomedplanet.com. Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8. Goodbye. This is it.